Welcome. Our journey begins. Today is day 9, June 9, 2024, and we're going to talk today about how in the world can one person possibly make a difference. And I'm going to do this as an exploratory question because although I kind of started this as a journey of me trying to answer this question, it is going to be me kind of exploring how to answer this question properly. So I have some constraints to kind of start with, go through all aspects of how the world could be changed. So this was from like the day 3 script, which I actually have up. Like, what are the main possibilities for how the world could be changed, like in all actuality, and not just like dreaming, essentially. And I apologize if this is going to be a little slow, but it's our journey begins, so that's part of the deal. So let's just map out the options. Let's just draw some. It's been a little bit since I used this properly. Okay, so one of the options was that every individual person becomes the best version of themselves, and therefore the synergy of this is a great world, which is like slightly not exactly sure how likely that is. Second option is that AI and tech bring about abundance state, which allows for ultimate world. Another option is one single smart person or AI figures out all the little steps to take and levers to pull in order to slowly, quickly bring about the better world through subtle changes. Another option is probably okay. I had this on there, a small percentage of people make it through this next world-ending catastrophe, and those people are great and start the better world. So this is like after the flood kind of thinking, which really is not that useful. That's definitely not the main option. And then it's that there's a education revolution. People become wise. We have see, that did not work. Oh, interesting. Okay. Then we have expansion to other planets, which I think we'll go through each of these and kind of map out like why or why not they're not the best of ideas. But the new fabric of reality, I'd say more a movement of people trying to make a difference. that movement spreads and things change. So those were kind of my initial thoughts on like the main possibilities in which the world actually does become a much better place. Then maybe we'll ask ChatGPT that question as well. Let's ask ChatGPT here. So let's do GPT 4.0. What are the most probable ways that the world could become a much better place? Like the mechanisms. I'm gonna put this into a new chat. While that is going, doesn't really take very long, but still. The next thing on our list is becoming the best version of yourself. Like this option here. So I guess I could evaluate each option. So let's bring this one like down here. Can I change this to rounded, curved? Okay. Let's start with pros, and then we'll go to like cons, or like, I don't know how best to say that. Not necessarily, yeah, that's weird. Pros are that every person then has to be involved. And I'll just start this over here. I'll do cons. Do we need to force people that don't want to comply? Would you not need to wait generations in order for change to happen? Okay, what did ChatGPT say? So I'm gonna copy this, put this over here. Unfortunately, that's not the most enlightening way to read this, but it's something. So ChatGPT said this. Proving the most significant education and empowerment. Technology advancements. Yeah, that makes sense. Fair trade. Transparent and accountable governance. Strengthening democratic institutions. Like, these are a little... I don't think we're going to solve anything through this, but it's whatever. Okay, these are all like, yeah, are maybe if you do all of them together, a better world comes about, but this is not really that helpful. So we're gonna have to do some thinking on our own. Do you want to wait generations for change to happen, since it requires all people? Yeah, it doesn't hardly seems possible. Pros are that no downside for an individual to engage with this. But yeah, like, how does that exactly? Like, we're just saying, oh, the synergy of this, because basically the idea is that the idea is that people become capable of making the world truly better. But this is like all of this is long. We're talking long time. That's like the main downside. I don't think we can wait around for this to happen. So like for that reason alone, this option just doesn't seem that great. So I'm gonna put that on red. Okay. We have another option, expansion to other planets. See, that's also gonna take a really long time. Let's change this to curved. Yeah, a really long time. And what about home base, essentially? Okay. Small percentage of people make it through. Again, this is like you're like counting on destruction, which does not at all seem best. That's like existentialist thinking right there. Okay, one single smart person. Maybe we'll get back to that one specifically. AI and tech bring about abundance. This is sort of like Peter Diamandis type of thinking. Mandis type of thinking. Yeah, what about this one? Education revolution. People become wise, best version of themselves. It's basically the same thing. So that one kind of falls into this one. So that one we will make red as well. Movement of people. Okay, so these are kind of the main options to me. Yeah, let me just say this is not useful. It's just like a bunch of nonsense, basically. So we have these three guys. Yeah, that did not work. Okay, so what was the other stuff I was gonna do? Is this something that everyone can do, or just unique that I can do? This is kind of a question. Does world change have to be changed world have to necessitate that every person engages in the turning, or does it just kind of happen to base reality and then people enjoy it? There's kind of another question to this, which is like, there we go. Okay. What does for me to make a change? Do I have to do something that only matters, that is unique and different, that only I could do? Or can it be something that everyone can do? that everyone needs to do. Okay, then, and to answer this question, I don't know, what are some thoughts here? Also, this is not exactly the most organized, it's just a way to start visualizing and thinking through some of the various things on this topic. I mean, logically, one person or everyone can bring about the change. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Let's make that blue. Okay, what else we got here? Yeah, this feeling of, this is sort of like emotional intelligence. What, like, current results do not represent, wait, what was I? Yeah. Current's not representative, but what is possible? Does anyone really know truly changes the world? I guess that is a question in general, like, do any experts, do any supposed experts know the answer to this question? Let me ask GPT-4 that question. Does GPT-4 know? Do any experts know the answer to this question? Okay. I mean, if any experts really knew the answer to this question, then we probably would not be needing to do this exercise, for one. Let me get ready to bring that over. Yeah, it's crazy how in 5 seconds you get this huge blob of probably mostly nonsense, but alright, whoa. Experts across various fields often reflect interdisciplinary approaches to the values they live. Okay, like this is like, yeah, this whole question is kind of like, who really knows anything? But let's talk about like, this one makes sense, but is too over, like what is the actual, in detail, I guess. I guess that's more like a set of goals. Well, what's the difference between a set of goals, mechanisms? Let me think about that. Goals versus mechanisms. Oh, my thinking is that goals are the end state that we would like to reach. Most people do not overly disagree on the main points. So this isn't really an issue as I see it. But I would say mechanisms they are, no one really knows these, I think. And how, like, what are the mechanisms and by which one person could make a change. Okay. I may want to get a drink of water really fast. Okay, so these are mostly goals. Maybe they have like how to complete them. How does Jeffrey mention to complete these objectives? Let's see if ChatGPT knows how to complete objectives. All right, we shall see. Paul Hawken, regeneration and drawdown. Yeah, there's a lot of. I don't think this is necessarily. It's like part of it. But it's not holistic. Okay, let's see. Now, this may be entirely made up by ChatGPT, but we will see. Prominent economist and advocate for sustainable development, holistic planning, national and local development plans. See, national and local development plans, I just don't see that ever working. No fill. To me, that right there is the issue. Let's do that. Yeah. This is mostly just an exploration, but mostly, I guess, intuition. I don't think current governments are going to accomplish anything. Now, you could say, well, we just need to change the way government's currently working. Yeah, maybe that's what we need to do. Different private sectors, civil organizations. Investment in sectors, global partnerships, research and development, technology transfer, climate action, gender equality, transparency and accountability. Okay, I mean reasonable, overall reasonable. But I wouldn't say like, oh yeah, makes complete sense. Okay. Yeah, in general, I feel like if any person really new here, then we wouldn't have. Oh, you know what? I think I know why that is. But it's kind of a false assumption because it could also be that no one that the theory works, but in practice it's hard to bring about. So yeah, you can't write out everything off necessarily. Okay, Eleanor Commons Management. It sounds like communism to me, which we all know does not work too well. If it did work, the world would be a different place. Hans Rosling. Yeah, like it says here. There's no one that has an answer. Is it possible to have an answer? I think potentially with AI, if we know all possibilities, probably not though, is probably the best answer. Not at this point. When it really matters. Okay, what next? Okay, so the main question I wanted to ask is it possible for one person to make a difference? Which, if we look at it from an emotional standpoint, then no. Okay, let's put this over here. Can one person make a difference? Let's say emotionally in the beginning. Well, okay, we could do it a couple ways. We could say in the emotionally in the beginning of the journey, no. In the middle, yes. At the end, yes, for sure. But why / how? If that makes sense. Like while we're on the journey, emotionally at the beginning when things aren't working out, we're like, no, there's no way one person can make a difference. In the middle, when you're starting to see results, you're like, yeah. And then at the end, you're like, yeah, for sure one person can make a difference, but you're not really sure why or exactly how that works. But if we say logically speaking, this is what I'm really interested in. Logically speaking. So we could look at history. we could say for sure. I mean, you got bad people, good people. I mean, what are some examples? We have Hitler as a bad example. We have Jesus as a good example. We have, I mean, all kinds of people. Typically leaders, inventors, thinkers. Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. But yeah, like, historically, people have made a difference. And, okay, let's just say, like, literature reveals that one person can potentially make a difference if all the conditions are right. Like, basically, a lot of times in books, you have the hero's journey. They're going on the journey, they're doing something, they end up making a difference. So, but like all the conditions of the book clearly make that a possibility. But I think it's revealing that if you have the right conditions, yes, it's possible. So then it's like, okay, what are the right conditions? I mean, we can imagine them. It's like best version of oneself. And luck. And best version of oneself and luck probably are the main two things. It seems like luck or fate, I guess you could say, if you are thinking that way. Okay. What was the original root? Can one person make a difference? I mean, in general, yeah. Yes, in general. We can imagine scenarios. Okay. Potential avenues that I've been thinking about how one person could potentially make a difference. It's by creating and building new cities, new seasteading communities, creating personalized, life-changing books that are generated by AI, developing an AI version of oneself that's capable of being ultimately benevolent and around forever to make positive changes, developing ethical businesses, which kind of, by changing the structure of the way things are done, things start to improve, starting a viral movement, focusing on the ability to still document my journey. I would almost, yeah. So I'm kind of thinking that of these, so we have like what can one person do, and then I have like how. So these are the main ways I think a better world could be brought about, and then like how could one person possibly influence that? And do we really care about how one person can do it? Well, I guess so, because that's how you practically break down the problem. Is what can any one person do to bring about the change? Maybe that one person can be interchangeable. Okay, yeah, maybe that person's interchangeable, and maybe the time scale is unknown. So both of these, first of all, is any person really smart enough to figure this out? No, probably not. AI, you're depending on AI to come around. AI, yes, but you were depending on benevolent AI, and AI is not something any one person can do. Maybe one person can help with the... I guess it's tricky because it's not that the world can make it... It's not that the world can't be changed by just everyone doing their small part to make it happen. I'm just thinking, like, how can any one person do a small part to actually make it happen? If that makes sense. So overall, this one is like subpar. It's not like that great. AI and tech, again, you're depending on AI and tech. AI and tech, and like maybe you can be pivotal in bringing about good AI. Since I've had these going this way, I'll do that. So yeah, again, decent, but any one person can't really actually make like a fundamental change. This is the only way, and I'm biased because this was my thinking beforehand, that we could actually make, that one person could potentially make a difference. As the way in which any one person can make a difference. And that's essentially because it's a movement that encompasses of people trying to make a difference. That encompasses all other ideas of how to make the world a better place. Yeah, maybe this is not specific enough of an actual like mechanism. Okay, but why? Why and how? Those are the real questions. So did I get very far? Okay, let's do a little bit of a summary. So we reviewed the possible ways that the world could become a better place. Every individual, expansion on the planets, tech and AI, a single person or AI figures out the ways to do things. This is sort of Isaac. Isaac is always a tough spelling for me. Asimov, iRobot. Okay. I don't know. I mean, I would say it would be unstable if it did depend on any one person. So that kind of gets me thinking, like, it's not that you are the only person that could make it happen, but that you end up being the person that does, based on time and place in reality. So, but yeah, I also wanted to get at, so I guess this was actually more of an answer to this question. Maybe that's your part to play, to lead. Maybe we all end up needing to lead. Not totally sure, but whatever is required. I like that thought, and I like this thought. Okay, then we went through yeah. Went through some experts, but I don't think any of their answers really help out too much. And yes, in general. So we have a yes, one person can make a change. We have the most likely route of that happening is by a movement of people changing the world. And then we have, does your specific part need to be one of leadership? Of like what exactly? What I'm trying to get at is, yeah, I don't like making boxes because it ends up getting messed up. But what I'm trying to get at is trying to find the intersection between these. So and this is all like assuming that you want to make a difference. Okay. How can any one person change the world? We kind of have to outline this before we can go much farther. Like, if this is the process by which the world is changed, most likely, what steps does that involve? What must happen in those steps? And how much different is this? Like, if we're here figuring out the steps, how much different is that from like a smart person figuring out the steps? I think what I'm going for here is self-organized. I mean, could be under leadership, but I feel like I don't think it should be under leadership. Just feel like that's not the way in which things actually happen. So if it's not under any one person leadership, then by default, our job will not be to become the ultimate world leader. How much do I want to get into this? Such a big topic. So I have a lot of thinking on what this movement could be. But it's basically a self-organized movement of people trying to make a difference. But like, even then, like, what if the movement goes in, but then it goes out? Like, all of these conditions require, or all of these potential mechanisms require certain conditions to be met to actually take place. And so which conditions are most likely to take place is kind of the question. And like, these conditions might be the most likely because tech is like basically and I think that that's good. I think this is like this will incorporate this, but at the end of the day this is basically just a generic sense of the way in which things actually could happen. Okay. So let me think about this. Trying to find the intersection between these. Maybe I need to sketch out what things I need to figure out this intersection. What do I need to figure out intersection? So, one, it's kind of like, is it possible to figure out this intersection? Yeah, that's funny. Maybe it's because I need to push this one. What? Basically, this involves the movement starting. Because if by definition the movement is what brings about the better world just by the self-organizing properties of it self-organized as itself and everything else to develop a sort of ultimate state of reality, and all that you really have to do is start it. And then because it's self-organizing, it will develop itself into doing what needs to be done in the best way possible. So, how can any one person influence the movement starting? Let me make this like a nice, cool color. All right. Okay, so we have like they get on board and support. Like they become part of the mechanism. They do their part in the self-organizing process. It just feels like you're giving it up. You're giving up the freedom and the actual change to just saying, oh, you're going to be part of the cog. You're going to be a cog in the wheel. But I think being a cog in the wheel is somewhat okay because that's what, like that allows for a non-dependency on you. I think that's fine. I think this whole thing is something about, I'm just going to put it here. Being selfless. Doing the part that you need, even if it's small. But at the same time, thinking for yourself, bring about the best world you can imagine. Perhaps part of the overall self-organizing process by the best versions of ourselves. And I imagine this would be related to like the movement starts, then you have people working together in coordination to make the change. I suppose there's a gap in here which is like it actually happens, or like it's almost like the idea of a religion or a and yeah, these shapes do not mean anything too particular. They just happen to be the shapes I use. But like, how would you ensure that the movement continues and self-organizes properly? That is so hard. You'd have to like trust that everyone's going to do the right thing. But it's also like, if you can't trust everyone to do the right thing, then like nothing's gonna happen anyway. So, okay, I guess I could bring this back to like me, Phil, Lita. What change can I make? Okay, I can try working toward developing the start of the movement and the self-organizing principles on which it will get started. Okay, yeah, I forgot to finish my thought up here. It's the idea of almost like a religion, a religious idea or idea in general that lives on no matter what. But yeah, I'm not sure how you could. I mean, that's why religions work so well, is because it's like an idea that goes down from generation to generation, and you're not going to lose that essence. But you might, over the course of this whole thing happening, you might lose the essence of what actual thing you're trying to do. So, realistically, how can we do this? It kind of makes sense that this is what needs to happen. So, how? Well, as in, what can I do? What can other people do? So, by definition, okay, start a movement even if it's a movement of one. And yeah, okay. So the main idea would be that I help start it, as does everyone else. This is kind of like me or someone else. Anyone else, in that, like, how can any one person make a difference? Is by me or anyone else basically, hold up, starting the movement. Which just seems so vague. You guys probably don't even know what the movement is. I have a lot of stuff written on what the movement could be. But it's the self-organizing principle. So, and that, it almost seems like a lack of freedom. Like, not, I don't want to say that's a period. Lack of freedom. Okay. what does that mean day to day? That means I will keep at it, form the movement, even if it's only just me. Me, maybe some people. Okay. Overall, we got some stuff mapped out. We probably could have come to this result without mapping this stuff out, but it was good to do a general overview. Okay, I'm pretty sure that we're good. Okay, I'm just going to keep at it. There's the answer to my question, what any one person can do. Keep at the movement, start the movement, do the movement, develop the movement, self-organizational principles, and get things going. So it's basically like how to get the movement started. That's my part. That's our part. That's everyone's part in making a difference in the world is becoming part of the self-organizing force by which it happens. You could also think of this movement as the force by which things actually change into the outcomes that are into the ultimate best outcomes. Yeah, that's not the right color. Hey, look at that one. Yeah. So starting that, working on that, getting that going, that just makes sense. Now it's like how to actually bring that about. What are all the steps? That we will get into. But I do actually feel better now. I'm like, yeah, this is what any one person can do. This is the part I can do. I can wake up tomorrow and I can work toward starting the movement, being the movement of one, if nothing else, and helping to develop the force by which things actually change into the ultimate best outcomes. It doesn't have to be anything about me leading anything or me being the one that started something or another. You also have to wonder if, well, maybe that force by which things actually change is a combination of all the other stuff out there. Well, that's fine. So what is the binding principle of this force? That is the question. What is the binding principle? Is it a label? Is it like, oh, I'm part of the force? Is it... I mean, no, like, first of all, I don't think a label exactly. It's almost like being part of a country or something like that. Like, you know which side you're on. You've made the choice. Yeah, I mean, maybe it has to just be a label. A label, a choice, a member. Okay, if it's a membership, I could start that if that's like the main thing that needs to happen. Oh, hey, look at that. I can start the membership or theory or the idea of binding. Something like that. I think you guys understand what I'm trying to say. Okay. This is the ultimate takeaway from this session. Although in general I do feel better. Like, there are 8 billion people in the world. How can I make a difference? It's literally nothing necessarily unique. It's just that I'm the right person, or I'm the person. I'm the person at the right time. Yeah, it's not that I'm the only person that could make it happen, but that I end up being the person that does make it happen based on the time and the place and the thinking by which I start making things happen. So this, I don't want this to be sketchy. I need to think through this a lot more and how to actually make that happen. I mean, I did have other things in this whole idea of like, how can I make a difference in like 20 weeks? But like, that's not the point, right? The point is to do your part, to do it selflessly. Maybe that means doing my part while sacrificing a bunch of the other things that I want. I don't know that it has to be that way, but all right. That was day 9, June 9th, 2024. Hopefully that was fun. I don't know if anyone will ever see that, but if you did, thanks for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.